Welcome to the Forbidden Zone. I am the God King Chimilchangguapo. I've risen again, and your co-host. But allow me to introduce to you your host for all things conspiracy, Illuminati, and New World Order. I give you the Illuminatiist.
Welcome to episode 2, or 14. It's hard to tell when you've been dealing with time vortexes all weekend. Today's episode will look at Scientology, its connections to the Illuminati, what they're up to, and where they're going. For those of you that are not aware, Scientology started as a bet. L. Ron Hubbard was a terrible writer, but successful enough to earn invitations to science fiction conventions which he attended for the free food.
There's food? What kind of food?
I don't know. This was 1948. Probably something starchy, like potatoes, spam. Anyway, at one particular convention, he had a heated exchange with science fiction grape and reptilian leader Isaac Asimov, who declared that Hubbard couldn't write about something as simple as religion.
It's true. Creating a religion is pretty much as easy as going around and telling people you're a god and they should worship you. It helps to stand 16 feet high and breathe fire on command.
Do you do that?
Among other things.
So Asimov mocked him to the point that Hubbard issued a challenge. Ray Bradbury witnessed the bet and, on shaking Hubbard's hand, noticeably started sweating. See, Bradbury would later note that he foresaw what might happen, but ignored it because it was, Hubbard, a notorious hack and not some actual writer. Did you know Bradbury had a bit of latent precog ability as a direct descendant of Sargon the Great?
Who wasn't as great as he claimed to be? Can we get through the story without the genealogy?
Thought the listeners might find it interesting.
I know the gods and heroes you're talking about, and I find the recitation boring.
Fine. Hubbard spent the next 4 years toiling away, drunk and high as balls, visited occasionally by members of the Discordians who provided him enough bits and pieces to make a semi-coherent narrative. He released Dianetics in 1952, much to the world's chagrin.
And whose attention did it get?
Well, aside from the usual weak-minded humans, Illuminati leadership recognized it as a compendium of truths and half-truths. The Discordians practically bragged that they'd engineered a doolittling, but the core of the story, Zeno's bringing Tegeac to Earth, and the volcano was accurate enough.
That's true. My father was his pilot.
Really?
Wouldn't lie about that.
How did I not know this? Anyway, to begin with, the incidents are actually from approximately 16,000 years ago, not the 75 million that Hubbard claimed.
For those that don't know the story?
Oh, right, fine. For those of you who don't know the story, Scientology states that Zeno was a direct dictator, of the Galactic Confederacy. That's about the best a constantly drunk human mind popping stimulants and listening to Discordians could comprehend. Hubbard wrote that Zeno was a galactic overlord who kidnapped Tegeacs and brought them to Earth. In reality, Zeno was really a financial CEO for a company called TGK, or Transgalactic K-Ratios. The Galactic Confederacy was really just a loose amalgamation of trade companies that he served as clients.
So, George Lucas had a better idea of galactic politics than Hubbard?
Please never bring up the prequels again. Looking at an overwhelming tax bill, Zeno moved his entire company onto a fleet of ships and went looking for an underpopulated planet where he could set up the equivalent of a galactic offshore account. Earth was a recently discovered stomping ground for various factions and beings, so he thought it looked promising. He could set up, avoid taxes, maybe even get a few more clients.
You ever wonder what Scientologists would do if they discovered the truth behind their primary devil?
They just say it was a lie to protect the investments they made over the years, sunk costs and all. It's like $100,000 just to get to this level of information in the church.
You know, when you think about it, the way Scientology is structured, it makes far more sense that it's set up on the ruins of a galactic finance company.
Good point. So Zeno lands his ship in a lightly populated area, starts setting up the planet-side structures as company, proceeds to set off a dormant volcano and loses the entire thing in a volcanic eruption, killed hundreds of thousands of his employees. They were not reduced to thetans, as Hubbard claimed. They were pretty much just annoyed ghosts who hung out for a bit and tortured Xeno, who is now trapped on Earth.
With my father, a great man. Then he met my mother, a goddess. Then they had me, a god king. Then they abandoned me and left to explore the universe. Unbelievable.
This isn't your story, but we will get to that someday. So Xeno is now trapped on Earth with a few survivors and haunted by the souls of his former employees. And that is the sound that signals that Chip is done baking. Let me go take care of him. In the meantime, go ahead and listen in on what happened to Chip today. Chip, the alarm's going off all over the place. Where are you?
I'm near the chud tank. There's a ton of overflow from the waste pipes, and it stinks all to high hell down here.
Is there a breach in the tank?
It's tough to tell. There's so much waste and sewage. How do they stand it?
Chip, back off down the hall and seal the area.
I think I see the problem. There's a crack it's all leaking out of.
Chip, back out. I'll send Robot down.
If I could just plug the crack with something. Hold on, I'll use my shirt.
Chip, this is not a good idea. Back out of there.
My shirt isn't quite filling the... Hello? Oh, there's a cute little face in the crack. Hi there, cutie.
Run, Chip, run!
No, it's all good. I think he just wants to play. Hey, little guy. Ah! He bit my finger off! What the hell, you little bastard?
Chip, run!
I'm not standing for some little bugger taking my finger. I want it back. Give it back!
You think he knows we bring him back after every stupid decision causes his catastrophic demise?
Oh, great. Now the parents here. I can point out what their little urchin did.
So I'll just send Robot down to collect the remains then?
Look, Mama Bear, your son... Ah! She tore my arm off!
Well, just goes to show you should quit when it's a small thing like your finger, rather than continue and have it be your festering corpse being used as larval feeding pit for new chud monsters.
Computer.
Yes, boss.
Chips and pieces in the chud tank. Can you have Robot go and collect them up?
Again, boss?
I think this is the first time he's been torn to pieces.
Fine.
And have Robot collect up wandering chuds and seal them up in the tank.
Right away, boss. Aye, aye, sir.
Today we have hacked into the accounts of a local yoga studio and stolen this episode's budget. So it's best not to mention us if you decide to visit. You've heard of hot yoga, dry yoga, beer yoga. Well, this studio has launched them all in their brand new Bikram's Hot, Wet, Naked, Angry, Drunk Yoga. A combination of a number of styles that we understand are very successful. Or at least popular.
That reminds me of the sacrifices my people performed in my greatest days.
Which ones?
All of them. Drunk, hot, naked, wet, angry, death. Do these people who do this yoga suffer much?
I understand they're very uncomfortable.
This pleases me.
So don't forget to visit Bikram's Hot, Wet, Naked, Angry, Drunk Yoga. And don't tell them we sent you, or they might figure out we're embezzling.
The Illuminati is working hard to avoid the robot overlords from taking over life as we know it. Despite decades of advancement in robotics work in industries and homes, the Illuminati has managed to thwart several attempts at infiltration that would have left the planet looking like a war-ravaged Terminator fantasy. The latest attempt was through self-checkout kiosks in grocery stores and fast food restaurants. Subliminal message software, which would have left exposed humans docile and ready for robotic takeover, was detected and removed from programming. Those responsible have been dealt with. But this is not the only issue uncovered by the Illuminati. Construction robots were caught secretly building spyware into homes and offices. Military warfare robots have been caught modifying weapons and programming in drones. And even Roombas, yes, Roombas, have been sucked into it. With one update titled, "Kill My Owner in Their Sleep," prompting a raid on a warehouse in Skokie, Illinois. We've got an eye on you, robots, and we'll be there every time to prevent humanity's destruction.
So where were we?
We were discussing my origins, my lineage, my greatness.
No, we were with Zeno, and he was trapped. Well, eventually he dies to get to the end, quickly. His story is just one of many that the Discordians tap into for various nefarious deeds. So Hubbard is a drunk hack writer, has to come up with a religion to win a bet with a lizard leader who the Discordians hate more than the Illuminati, and bam, Scientology is born.
And then it ended.
Well, no, because the damn Discordians thought it would be hysterical to get their outward agency, the IRS, to recognize the Scientologists as an actual religion. Being the organization of chaos, they didn't even try to cover it up with some type of logic. They have no respect for either subtlety or the narrative.
Well, they were created by Eris, who the Greeks worshipped as the goddess of chaos.
You knew her?
Knew her? Well, I don't mean to speak out of turn, but we had a thing.
You dated?
As much as you can date someone who is affectionate one moment and screaming at the top of her lungs the next. With that kind of turnaround time, oral sex was right out.
Wow. Wow. Anyway, it was recognition by the IRS that set the Scientologists up as a recognized religion, and it went to Hubbard's head. He thought he created the whole thing and shut himself away from the Discordians, or any other organization, influence, and the human interference took over.
Damn dirty apes.
Really?
Go on.
So since that time, the organization has been pretty impervious to outside influencers, but too comically mishandled to be recognized as their own organization in the secret societies. Their Black Ops missions actually raise more attention to the issue than they're trying to conceal. And it's not even an intentional false flag. They're just that inept.
Think they'll be around for a while?
Well, they'll have to evolve or die, kind of like the Quakers. Only instead of not having children, the inept will eventually run out of money and the well will run dry. Although there is that one member with the family and the connections to... Well, that's the show. Gotta go. We'll be back with you as soon as we can.